Hi, it's Paul with Colorado Counseling Center. What do we do when those who have harmed us don't recognize the harm? They deny it, they're unrepentant, or maybe they're unavailable. They've moved away or they've died. In this situation, we need better options than either staying stuck in refusing to forgive or the cheap forgiveness that is really a form of denial and doesn't allow us to really move forward. We want to reclaim our freedom in life and not be imprisoned by something that has happened to us in the past. This isn't a simple process, but there are things that we can learn that help us move forward in a way that is congruent with our values, how we want to live, and the love that we want to share with other people who still are in our lives. Really, the only freedom is deciding how we're going to survive and transcend the injury in these situations where the other party isn't willing to make amends and to make things right. We still need to learn how to live and make peace. I heard a story years ago about two men who were falsely imprisoned, a true story, and they were in prison for over a decade. And the guards were really, really cruel to them. They mistreated them horribly. Years after their release, these two former inmates met each other, and one of them said to the other, "What I wouldn't do if I met one of those guards today." And the other man paused and he said, "The sad thing to me is you're still in prison." And that happens to us sometimes. And so we want to move towards acceptance for the wrong things that have happened in our lives. It doesn't mean that we don't hold the other person accountable. We may still seek justice while letting go of our need for vengeance. Vengeance really doesn't satisfy people in the end. The thing that helps us heal is to fully acknowledge the hurt and the pain that has happened to us. While it would be wonderful if the other party could recognize that and bear witness to the pain they've caused, if they're unwilling or not able, or if it's not safe to be in relationship with them, we need to do this for ourselves, sometimes with the help of a trusted friend, maybe a spiritual advisor, or a therapist can help you as well. We need to stop obsessing and re-engage with life. But before we're able to do that, we have to honor the full sweep of our emotions. Life isn't about creating a hierarchy of suffering where some people's pain is worthy of compassion and other people's pain is deemed too insignificant. Nor do we want to get stuck in the anger, this kind of false sense of security or safety. We want to be able to move forward, but we have to be able to grieve. And sometimes this takes time. It takes time to acknowledge the impact that the event or the relationship has had on our life. We need to come to terms and really understand it. So don't rush through this. It won't lead to a better form of forgiveness. It will just lead to something that bites you in the butt later on if you deny what's really happening in your life. As we are able to bear witness to the pain, perhaps with support, and to acknowledge the changes that we've had to make in our lives, we can move forward, re-engage in life, and we also need to be wise. As we're moving towards acceptance, it doesn't mean we put ourselves back in harm's way with the person who hurt us. We need to protect ourselves from harm. And this allows us some safety while not trapping us in the anger and the bitterness. As we move into acceptance, we can also take a step back and see the offender's behavior in context. Where did they come from? What was their life like? This doesn't excuse them for what they've done. They're still accountable for the choices they made that harmed us. But if we can take a step back from the personal impact and see the broader context of a person's life, we can understand how they might have gotten to that point. If that's not possible, if we don't really know much about the person, we can honor that hard things happen in the world and that we're not immune to that there's nothing about us specifically that protects us from the harm that really any other person on the planet might experience. And so in that way, we can accept that we're part of the human family, that suffering, in a way, is our birthright. But healing is possible for all of us too if we have compassion on ourselves and on each other. If we are still in contact with the other person, we may need to decide carefully about what sort of relationship we want to have with that person. Maybe it's shifted. Maybe the person is best kept as an acquaintance or just a chance contact, but we don't seek out any continued relationship with them. Or we may not want to be in relationship with them at all. At any rate, we let them go, place them in the hands of life, the hands of the universe, for them to move forward. And we decide to move forward on our own path. In this process, it's also important that we accept ourselves, that maybe we didn't protect ourselves in the way we ought to have, or maybe we didn't stand up against something early on when it started to happen, or maybe we really handled it poorly in some other way. And so coming to acceptance is also accepting our own frailty, our own imperfections, and deciding that we're going to recommit to living in a way that will provide life and joy, as well as standing up for ourselves when we need to. I learned some time ago that I have a standard that I don't stay in abusive relationships. It doesn't matter who the person is. It doesn't mean I can't view them with some compassion. But if something is ongoing, I give myself the dignity of not requiring myself to stay in that situation if I've tried to work it out and the other person isn't willing to do their part. So this is something we all face from time to time. Sometimes we're not able to reconcile because the other party isn't to be in the process with us. As a friend of mine once told me when I was in a situation like this, she said, "Paul, it's hard to play ping pong if there's no pong." In essence, I can't take responsibility for what the other person is going to do or not do. And if they're unwilling or unable for any reason to engage in a sincere process of reconciliation, I need to free myself and move forward and stay committed to living a life of joy and compassion and contribution. I hope this is helpful to you. If you need help with the process of accepting something that has happened in your life, of coming to terms with the pain and then transcending that to move forward into broader, happier life, then certainly give us a call at Colorado Counseling Center. Or if you're not in our area, pick up Janis Abrahms-Spring's book, How Can I Forgive You? It's good talking to you. Stay tuned for one last video about genuine forgiveness, which is what we all would hope for when something wrong has happened. Take care.